Welcome to Understanding Autism, an Odysseus learning program designed to help you learn about autism spectrum disorder and how it is treated. I'm your instructor, Dr. Shaana Berman. The course objectives for this lesson include knowing relevant definitions of autism, understanding key points about autism spectrum disorder, and understanding the current prevalence of autism. In 1943, Leo Kanner was the first to classify a collection of behaviors and coin the term autism. Since that time, many definitions have surfaced. Three of the most relevant definitions are discussed here: the Autism Society of America definition, the federal definition under the Individuals with Disabilities Act, and the medical definition of autism. According to the Autism Society of America, autism is a severely incapacitating, lifelong developmental disability that typically appears during the first 3 years of life. It occurs in approximately 15 out of every 10,000 births and is 4 times more common in boys than in girls. It has been found throughout the world in families of all racial, ethnic, and social backgrounds. No known factors in the psychological environment of a child have been shown to cause autism. This definition emphasizes that autism is a developmental disability. Symptoms become apparent prior to age 3. Autism is more common in boys than in girls. The disorder has been found in all cultures. It is considered a lifelong disability, although certain interventions, discussed later in the course, have been shown to significantly reduce atypical behavior and to increase typical skill acquisition. The federal government defines autism as a developmental disability significantly affecting verbal and nonverbal communication and social interaction, usually evident before age 3, that adversely affects a child's educational performance. Other characteristics often associated with autism spectrum disorder are engagement in repetitive activities and stereotyped movements, resistance to environmental change or change in daily routines, and unusual responses to sensory experiences. The term does not apply if a child's educational performance is adversely affected because the child has an emotional disturbance. The Individuals with Disabilities Act, or IDEA, ensures that all children in the United States, regardless of disability, have an equal opportunity to an education. This law also specifies that students with disabilities receive special education and related services to promote their participation in the general education environment. IDEA recognizes 13 disabilities that make a student eligible for special education services, including autism. In order for a student to qualify for these services, a student's disability must negatively impact their educational performance, as shown by an assessment conducted by qualified staff. According to medical definitions of autism, autism is a complex developmental disability that causes problems with social interaction and communication. Symptoms usually start before age 3 and can cause delays or problems in many different skills that develop from infancy to adulthood. Hence, the medical community also recognizes autism as a developmental disability. The medical community and the educational community often intersect, as both groups can recommend services to help a person with autism. A primary issue related to medical services is that sometimes insurance companies do not cover the types of treatments, such as applied behavior analysis, that have been shown to help a person with autism learn new skills. On occasion, the medical and educational camps can clash. For example, doctors might tell a parent their child has autism, but the educational community does not find that the student's disability impacts their educational performance. In the United States, the school district pays for services that are deemed necessary for the child to make progress at school. So what is autism? Now that we have discussed some definitions of the disorder, let's review some key points. Autism is a developmental disorder. It is detected in early childhood, usually before a child is 3 years old. Autism is a spectrum disorder. That means it varies from mild to severe. Autism occurs more often in boys than in girls. The disorder is not specific to any race, culture, or ethnicity. Autism impacts a child's educational performance. An average of 1 in 88 children in the United States have an autism spectrum disorder. Autism occurs in all racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups. Current data shows that autism is about 5 times more common in boys than in girls, and that parents who have one child with autism are more likely to have a second child with autism. Prevalence refers to the percentage of the population that is affected by a particular condition at any given time. Currently, in the United States, we have seen a dramatic upward trend in the prevalence of autism spectrum disorders. It is not known whether this trend is due to a true increase in the disorder or if it is due to heightened awareness about the disorder. Also, other conditions are often misdiagnosed as autism, which further confounds reported data. While autism occurs in all countries, prevalence outside the United States cannot be accurately determined at this time because efficient tracking systems are not in place. The fact that autism occurs 5 times more often in boys than in girls suggests a genetic component. Further support for the notion that the disorder is hereditary lies in research showing that parents who have one child with autism are more likely to have a second child diagnosed with the disorder. This graph is representative of data collected in 2012 by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The visual makes it easy to see how prevalence of autism has changed over the years. In 2012, the Center for Disease Control released a study showing new data regarding prevalence of autism spectrum disorder. The data showed how the trend has changed over time. In 2002, 1 in 150 children were diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. In 2006, however, 1 in 110 children were diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. This new data supports that 1 in 88 children have an autism spectrum disorder. While previous data indicated a 4-to-1 ratio of boys to girls, new data suggests a 5-to-1 ratio of boys to girls. While the 2012 data is not considered nationally representative, the information suggests that autism has risen 23% over the last 2 years and indicates a 78% increase over the last decade. This increase may be due to better screening and diagnosis procedures. Costs associated with treating the disorder have reached $126 billion annually in the United States, making autism an epidemic of national and international proportions. Please refer to the references listed below for more information. Now that you have reviewed the information in this lecture, please click Next Module to proceed to the next part of this lesson. Keep in mind that quizzes and the final exam for this unit are cumulative and cover all material from all content provided.